and the red state of Florida, the people are the most financially distressed right now. Florida's governor and the Republicans are driving Florida into the ground. These people are struggling to pay their bill. Yes, they voted for this administration. This is a little bit of an FAFO. The governor doesn't seem to care.
Do you guys think that Donald Trump is good for the average American and low-income Americans?
Absolutely.
So once again...
10 million Americans losing access to bad, low-quality care.
So what are they going to be left with? And also, Medicaid actually isn't that bad in all scenarios. But my question to you is, what are they going to be left with? The answer to that question is nothing. You said that we need to fix and replace it. Donald Trump isn't replacing it with anything. Okay, he has been in office for 5 years at this point, and he's been contemplating his policies for office for over 10 years at this point. And this whole time, he's been saying that we need to repeal and replace Obamacare. We need to repeal and replace the ACA. Medicaid has all these problems, but guess what? The real problem is taking these services away from people that need them to live, leaving them with nothing and replacing them with nothing, okay? If you want to replace Medicaid with something better, be my goddamn guest, all right? So many low-income Americans can voice so many frustrations with this system, but guess what? That system still provides them with the only healthcare they have access to in order to fund their visits to the hospital, in order to fund their annual physicals, and in order to extend their lifespan by 5 to 15 years on average per low-income American. And what are they going to have if they don't have it? Nothing. But okay, folks, so all 5 of you on the panel with us right now support Trump as president. So let's go ahead and hop into things. Here's the first question for y'all. This is something that I talk about very frequently on the live, but I want to talk about it again today. Do you guys think that Donald Trump is good for the average American and low-income Americans?
Nothing is better than being MAGA. Here in Florida, let me tell you what we're doing. You see, what happened was Ron DeSantis and all the MAGA legislator here, we kicked out all of the immigrant workforce. We made it clear that they weren't welcome here and kicked them out of the state. That's right, even some of us MAGA business owners voted to kick out our own workers, and now we cannot fill the work. Oh, but don't you worry, MAGA's on top of things, because right now our wonderful legislator is debating on loosening the child labor laws here, because our genius MAGA plan is to replace the immigrant workforce with our children, our Florida children. Doesn't that make perfect sense and just sound wonderful? The policy we support is actually detrimental to us, but we pass it anyway. Now all the MAGA youth is going to be doing construction on your house. Doesn't that want to make you buy a house in Florida?
Hello guys, welcome back again to this channel, and of course if you're watching for the first time, please subscribe. Now, Florida MAGA supporters are fuming, but this time they can't blame the left because their own hero, Donald Trump, is the reason the economy is falling apart. From rising cost of broken businesses, the Trump boom has turned into a Florida bust. Let's watch these clips, then come back and have a talk.
So this past month, my boyfriend and I cut down on our water usage a great deal. We saved about 500 gallons of water. I want you to guess how much our water bill went down by, though. If you guessed just over $2, you would be correct. That is how much the taxes on stormwater and sewage and everything else that's included in your water bill have gone up, to the point where you saving 500 gallons of water makes no difference, basically. Florida has become so unaffordable, and I really haven't heard anybody talk about how expensive our utilities alone have become in Florida. We've got insurance companies pulling out of Florida because it's more likely that there are natural disasters here now than not. And that's not profitable. Having to pay people to fix their houses isn't profitable, so why be in that state? You know, it's not like that's what insurance is for. And our salaries aren't keeping up with this, obviously, because why would they? Why would we need more money to survive? We're not even going to get into groceries and the cost of living in general in Florida. Utilities is just scratching the surface. This is one of the many reasons my boyfriend and I are moving to Lisbon in less than a year. because we just can't do it anymore.
Put your finger down if it took you well over a year to finally convince your family to move to Florida, and you've only been here for 2.5 months, and it's nothing like you thought it was. So now you're about to pack up to go back to Lexington, Kentucky, and your family looks at you like you're stupid.
The American flag stands for compassion, kindness, liberty, justice for all. We're all human, and today I'm asking for one human act of compassion to please let my dad come home.
Quick question. Did you think that the American flag stood for compassion and kindness when you voted for who you voted for? Because let me show you something.
And the science and experience we've developed here will live on through you. On behalf of the board, the leadership team, and myself personally, thank you for your passion, your ideas, and your perseverance. Perhaps more importantly, while we assembled phenomenal individuals together as a team, we fostered an even more phenomenal culture together. While war in its current state will not continue, our culture will ensure so many of these relationships will continue going forward, both professionally and personally. Your work mattered, it still matters.
That was my CEO shutting down our entire company, where that man has dedicated his life to science and treating cancer patients such as your father. And we had to stop. All of us got laid off because of your vote. So let me ask you another question. Would you still regret your vote if this didn't happen to you personally? Because I went back a couple of videos on your page to find out where was the outrage when this happened to a child, an American child that was deported mid-cancer treatment. And what I saw on your page was you being hot. I didn't see you being outraged. I didn't see you being upset. I didn't see you speaking up. So your cry is not really regret or remorse. Your cry is entitlement. You're crying because you were told no. You're crying because they denied you. Because if they had accepted your father to stay here, you wouldn't regret your vote. You would think that your president was still your hero. Because the outrage, the remorse, and the regret should have started months ago when this was happening to other people. When this was happening to thousands of other people that also have families, that also have children, that also have wives. You didn't care back then. Now you care?
The cost of living in Florida is absolutely ridiculous, and the pay is not matching up with it, especially for healthcare workers, specifically nurses, is who I'm referring to because that's what I know, that's what I do. And the person that a lot of my friends go to for financial advice, because I'm very frugal, I'm very good at budgeting. I love budgeting, I love saving money, I love investing money, I love doing things like this. Can't do it anymore because I literally don't make it.
Hey, did you know that young people between the ages of 20 and 29 are leaving Florida in record numbers? And it's not because they don't love the sunshine, it's because they can't afford to live here anymore. Between rising rents, sky high homeowners insurance, and wages that don't keep up, they're forcing the young people out. And when they leave, Florida loses its future workforce, its innovation, and its energy.
Florida is learning about the significance of undocumented migration to the United States. They developed laws targeting undocumented migrants, and just like that, all the construction sites are empty.
Tourists are avoiding Florida like it has emotional herpes. Florida tourism is down, beach businesses are dying, and the people are somehow surprised about it. Come to Florida, where the sun burns your skin and the governor burns your identity. It's so politically toxic that even the alligators are switching parties. DeSantis is out here turning Florida into a family-friendly dictatorship. It's like North Korea with Margaritaville decor. He's out here banning books, attacking drag queens, and starting a fight with Mickey Mouse like he's the final boss of the woke Olympics. The man literally lost a fight with Disney. That's like getting beaten up by a piñata. Tourism in Florida has dropped harder than DeSantis' presidential campaign. You remember that? Blink and you missed it. It was like watching a wet sock run for office. The beach bars are empty. Even the piña coladas are asking, is it because I'm fruity? You know things are bad when even retired boomers are thinking of packing up and moving back to New Jersey.
So this video is a little bit personal. I know I often talk about my daughter. I like to say that she's 10 going on 30, and she's a rising 5th grader in the public school system here in Florida. And to be clear, I am a public school kid. Kindergarten to graduation from high school, started in the state of Alabama, moved to Florida in 1983. And throughout my tenure as a student, it's always been in public school. I'm also a fan of private school, but I'm a bigger fan of public school. Why? Because there is a breadth of experiences that you get from the public school experience. And I also feel like my personal journey was best informed by being a part of a large environment of different kids from different backgrounds. I felt like it really helped me have a better perspective on the world. So, with my daughter being a part of the public school system, every year, especially as we ramp up to the beginning of a new school year, I start focusing on things like uniforms, because at her school, she wears uniforms. Thank gosh. School books, kind of who's your teacher going to be, that kind of stuff, right? The basics. The things that I think are the most important. And candidly, I think the most important thing is who's her teacher? Who's the teacher going to be? What's that classroom experience going to be like? Like, that means a lot to me. So maybe this has been sent before this year and I didn't pay attention, although I doubt it, because I got this yesterday. It's dated July 14th, 2025. And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to see the insanity that is happening here in Florida. I want you to appreciate, as a parent, what is going on here in Florida. It is sent from Anastasios Kamoutsas, Kamoutsas. He's the Commissioner of Education. And of course, I'm not going to come to you at the Katie Fang News Channel without doing some sleuthing, right? So let's talk about Anastasios, the Commissioner of Education. And let's talk about who he is, because I think this might let you know the type of letter I just got yesterday. And this was sent to all Florida parents, by the way. It was not sent to me specifically. And yet, I personally am offended by the letter. Okay, so Commissioner Anastasios Kamoutsas apparently is a lawyer. And this is what the website bio says for him for the Florida Department of Education. So I'm not making this up. This is actually what he has blessed to be the public forward-facing description of what this man is and does. He's been a conservative leader in all major education policy efforts since joining the Florida Department of Education's Office of General Counsel in 2019. During his tenure at the Florida Department of Education, Kamoutsas went on to serve as General Counsel and then Chief of Staff before being chosen to serve as Deputy Chief of Staff for Governor Ron DeSantis. Period. Let's stop right there. You get an idea and a flavor of where this is going? As Deputy Chief of Staff, Stasi, I guess that's his nickname, oversaw policy efforts for the governor's priority area.
Well. Florida homeowners' nightmare. Now, I don't know if you guys have been told, but in the past 6 months, there's a couple companies that have been filing for bankruptcy. Homeowners construction companies. And the following is Planet Signature Home, Vandervalit, Modern Builders Inc., Division 3 by JP, Seminole in Lake Counties, Sunset Palms Condo Association, which has 267 units. They're also filing for bankruptcy. But why? Why? Because you have homeowners that are walking away from condo association. Back in April, many homeowners with unfinished projects, Pegasus Builders and South Florida Developer, also filed for a Chapter 11, listing up to $10 million in debt and assets. You have condo homeowners who are walking away from their property. Between the assessment fees, homeowners insurance, and HOA association fees, they're done. It's cheaper to walk away. You're saying this in the past. The market is going to be impacted in a very huge way, and Florida's going to pay the...
So a Republican woman is in shock because she showed up at the hospital in Florida with an ectopic pregnancy, and they told her they couldn't help her because of the law, just like we said that they would. So she was so upset she called the governor, because of course when you're in the middle of a medical emergency you want to call a politician, but he didn't pick up the phone. And how many women had their governor's number on speed dial? So after several hours of begging and pleading for them to help her, like we said they'd make you do, they finally let her end the ectopic pregnancy before her fallopian tubes burst and she lost all ability to reproduce. And yet, she's trying to blame this on Democrats. But we said that when you showed up at the hospital, they wouldn't ask you who you voted for, what party you belonged to, and they wouldn't ask you what your interpretation of the bill was. They were just going to go by the law. So her care was delayed. I'm very happy she got the care that she deserved, but it was delayed. And there are other women out there whose care is being delayed. And that is putting their lives at risk and their reproductive health care at risk.
Florida beaches are empty because racism don't pay the bills. Now those beaches and businesses are empty in Florida, and the business owners are scratching their head. They're like, I don't understand what's happening and why this is going on. This is what happens when you build your entire platform on bigotry and fear. When you spend years attacking immigrants, the very people who visit your state, spend money in your hotels, eat at your restaurants, buy your tacky ass beach tiles. Don't act shocked when they stop showing up. And understand, it's not just tourists who aren't coming to Florida. When you squeeze the working class like a lemon, there is no juice left for joy.
MAGA is having a meltdown right now, and Donald Trump is the reason, as he has betrayed his America First policies. Now, if you missed it, Donald Trump sent $20 billion to Argentina to help them through an economic difficulty and to try to limit Chinese influence on the country. And how did Argentina repay us? By immediately selling millions in soybeans to China, stealing U.S. soybean market. And MAGA is losing it because this is not what Donald Trump promised. He promised we would put America first. And now, because of his trade war that he has no plan to win, no idea how to win, he is betraying all of his promises. But think of this. MAGA, farmers, two voting blocks for Donald Trump are both losing in this situation. So the question has to be asked. How many more times will you believe Donald Trump? How many more times will you believe Republicans before you realize they're lying to you, except when they say they don't care about you, they just want your vote?
Donald Trump is getting a rude awakening from all places in Florida. Yes, what's become a ruby red state in Florida, they are livid and pissed at Donald Trump. They're looking at double-digit increases on insurance, home insurance, car insurance, double-digit increases in utility bills, and all their politicians want to talk about is, oh, woke this, woke that, this bathroom, that bathroom. Let me show you what's going down in Florida, Central Florida, Southern Florida. Let's take a look right here. As a result of this government shutdown, we're seeing food pantries surging in need as people in Florida are going starving in the United States as a result of this Trump regime. Here, play this clip.
I'm your Osceola County community correspondent, Laverne McGee in Kissimmee, at a food pantry where they have everything from beans and cereal and also soup. And they say the demand is so great right now, especially now that we're seeing government workers who are not sure whether or not they're going to get paid.
I don't have no milk in my house and cereal. I'm like, it's touching me. It's touching me right now. I'm so sorry.
Service technician Laudelino Morales has been out of work for weeks. As he looks for a job, the food bank at the Church and Community Assistance Program is a lifeline.
It's really tough right now in these days, especially, like I said, the holidays around the corner. You know, you don't know if you're going to have Thanksgiving or not.
As the food bank works to keep Morales and his family fed, it's preparing for even more hungry mouths to feed. Government workers will miss their first paycheck this week.
I'm talking about police officers, I'm talking about government people, teachers.
Olga Gonzalez is the former mayor of Kissimmee. She founded this nonprofit back in 1999.
This shutdown, I don't think it was called for, because they know people are hurting because of this shutdown.
Across the state, there are nearly 95,000 federal workers who've been furloughed or are working without pay. As bills pile up, Olga hopes the food bank can help bridge the gap.
And it's not a handout. It's a hand up. So I let people know, don't feel bad because you're coming to get a box of food. You need to survive. And we're here to help you survive. It really hurts. It really hits down. But, you know, we got to thank you, Jesus, and keep forward.
Your Osceola County community correspondent, Laverne McGee, News 6.
And, you know, people who are going to grocery stores, people who are out there buying things, if they can afford them even, are saying, as a result of Donald Trump's tariffs, prices have increased dramatically. Watch this report right here. Let's play it.
I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting in Seminole County. There are signs that the most recent tariffs put into place on imported goods could lead to a rise in costs at the grocery store on some of your favorite items like canned goods, fruits, and coffee.
Okay, and I can tell you the prices have gone up.
Gail Kent tells me she's noticed a steep increase at checkout.
I just got Parmesan cheese. It was $12.99 and now it's $16.99.
And she's not the only one seeing the rise, as the high cost of groceries is straining many people's wallets. A recent poll shows 53% of Americans say grocery costs were a, quote, major stress.
Well, I think it's really sad for people who really can't afford it.
And it could continue to impact consumers, as economists warn the latest round of tariffs might drive up prices even further. Some imports coming from Brazil will now face a 50% tariff, which means we'll likely see
Donald Trump from beautiful Clearwater Beach, Florida, out here on the Gulf of Mexico. Donald, how about that No Kings rally? 7 million people showed up. And guess what? Most of them, Donald, look like me, old white people. So maybe you've screwed up so bad, Donald, that you could even turn Florida blue and all the other red states. After all, you did bankrupt casinos 4 times. You know, and I read that other people struggled at that time too, but your profits were 33% less than everybody else's in the area. What's that say about your business acumen, Donald? It's not very good. And then you could screw up the White House itself physically. Knock down part of the East Wing, pay $200 million for a ballroom when everybody's struggling in this country. Boy, Donald, you really do care about everybody.
Okay, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase is sounding the alarms about the market crash that may be impending, thanks to the Trump administration. So what happened? I think it was last week. I'm not sure. Banks who are listed on the stock market, their stocks crashed. It's specific banks that ended up absorbing hundreds of millions of dollars in losses because at least 2 very large companies went bankrupt very recently, thanks to the Trump administration's policies with tariffs and you name it. And as soon as it was announced that the banks had to absorb these losses, the stocks of these banks tanked. Now, JP Morgan Chase called this a cockroach situation. What he means is when you see one cockroach, there's probably a whole lot more you can't see. And what he's referring to is how many companies, the ones that are laying off, the ones that are downsizing because of all of Trump's policies, could very well be on the verge of bankruptcy.
Where is MAGA when you need them? Nowhere to be found. MAGA, look, here's a Florida farm that needs employees. You said you wanted your jobs back. Look at all these jobs. You see all these trucks that's parked over here and all these crops, vegetation and fruits that's planted in Florida, which is a red state, by the way. Do you notice there's nobody on these fields? Take a very close look. No one is on these fields. You said you wanted your jobs back. Now you got your jobs back. Now get to work. Okay? And they'll say, well, what are you saying? People should just run around and be illegal in America? No, that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is the people who had their documentations and had a chance to get their self on the right side of the law, why didn't you give them a chance instead of chasing them down, dragging them out of schools, graduations, out of their homes? Why didn't you give them a chance so they could go through the system, get documented, and work in peace?
So apparently people are leaving Florida in droves, like around 500,000 people. That's a lot. Oh, Ron DeSantis, you must be proud. Must be a proud moment for you. Thoughts on tariffs?
Trump promised Florida a strong economy, booming jobs and low taxes. But now, prices are high, tourism is down, and businesses are shutting their doors. Florida MAGA supporters or voters are shocked to realize that the man they worshipped is wrecking their wallets. American First turned into Floridians Last. Florida beaches and theme parks used to attract millions and millions of visitors. Now, visitors are plummeting. The global travel boycott and political tension have scared off tourists. International travelers say that Florida feels unsafe, racist, and politically toxic. With the empty hotels, closed restaurants, and laid-off workers are the new normal in Florida. Trump's trade and import policies have crushed the local agriculture, whereby farmers can't sell their crops and foreign markets have vanished. And the businesses that once depended on immigrants' labor are struggling to survive. MAGA politicians cheered these policies until their own voters started going broke. Florida's insurance market is in crisis. Companies are pulling out and rates are skyrocketing. Homeowners are furious, calling it a Trump-DeSantis disaster. Instead of protecting Floridians, MAGA leaders are now busy fighting culture wars and ignoring the real issues. And on social media like TikTok, X, Facebook, and even YouTube, MAGA supporters are turning on Trump with comments like, "You promised to fix America, not to destroy Florida. We can't even afford groceries anymore." With this comment, it is clearly showing that their loyalty to Trump is fading fast as economic pain hits home. America First was supposed to make Americans rich, but it is making Floridians broke and poor. You know, you can't build walls or fight the world and expect your economy to thrive. It is impossible, because the same policies that MAGA cheered for are now destroying their own state. And therefore, Florida MAGA is now learning the hard way that blind loyalty doesn't pay bills, because Trump's policy didn't save them. Instead, they sank the economy. If you think MAGA's economy pain is poetic justice, please like, share this video and subscribe for more political breakdown like this, because the truth is clear that Trump didn't save Florida, he sold it out.